Still favourite Rom, but easing in the market now. 6-5 on. Rakaposhi King is 3-1. Ekaterango 7-2. Nisnas at 20-1, and Maysoon 33s. All show.
And there's Maysoon. Perhaps it ought to be Monsoon. And she looking not too worried about the weather. She only had one run this season. As I told you, that was behind Rakaposhi King at Goodwood. Last season, she ran some tremendous races, notably in the 1,000 guineas, where she was a very close third. She'd won the Fred Darling first time out at Newbury, and then was second in the Nassau at Goodwood. Nevertheless, on her form at Goodwood, it's Goodwood this season, going to be very surprising if she can beat Rakaposhi King. I would tip her for last place, really, wouldn't you, Joe?
Well, really, she ran a very good race at Goodwood on her first appearance this year. She was travelling very, very easily, and for me, she just seemed to have blown up round about the sort of furlong mark. So there is some improvement in it, John, but I think the distance might just be a little bit too far for her.
She hasn't attempted it yet, a mile and a half, and very likely that's true. But you're probably quite right that she blew up first time out. Who knows? Let's hear, I think there's some news from the ring.
How are you, mate?
11-10 on is the going price. If you can get it and you fancy Triptych, take it. It's been taken on the course. She's 6-5 on. Burlington Bertie 100-30 against Rakaposhi King. A well-backed horse is this German Panzer. A Catanango 7-2, 20-1. That Nisnas and double carpet the Rag Maysoon. But there is opposition to this favourite Triptych. The figures are very bad for the bookmakers. They can't win on a race like this unless one or two of the outsiders are on, but they are taking 11-10 on if they can get it, the favourite, and the lightning's come down on me again.
Well, who cares about betting in a race like this? Catanango giving Pat Edery and the stalls handlers just a little bit of trouble. He's a great big strong horse. He's got a big callus on one of his stifles, which Jim McGrath pointed out to me. I don't know whether that's the result of some injury in the past. It doesn't do him any harm at all, but it's quite ugly to look at. Maysoon and Nisnas still to go in. They'll be the last. We expect Rakaposhi King to set off in front. It'd be very surprising if he doesn't. And the Catanango, I shouldn't think, would be far behind him. But as Nisnas goes in, over to you, Graham.
So the Henson Trust Coronation Cup, that's it. All installed, under orders and they're away. Interesting to see the jockeys for the first furlong, see if they can get actually a good strong hold on their horses, providing the reins don't slip. Sweaty horses, wet reins. Could be dodgy this, but Rakaposhi King leads for the first furlong, and Rakaposhi King opens up a lead over length to Nisnas and Triptych and a Catanango, 3 across the track. Maysoon is the back marker. And Rakaposhi King in the lead from Triptych, and then racing between these two, Catanango and Nisnas already having to be chased along. You can spot the dark green jacket looks black. That's on the outside. Maysoon, John Oaksey, going well in between them and behind them.
Yes, and Nisnas, I beg your pardon, Triptych going very well in second place, Joe.
Yes, she's got a nice lead there from Rakaposhi King in a lovely position. Ideally gets the real lead right into the dip. I don't think this really wants to be in front too long, John. She does tend to idle once she goes very quickly from behind and it rather pulls up a little bit. And
they appear to be going plenty fast enough for a Catanango. I saw Pat Edery change his whip there, pull his whip through. A Catanango normally would be closer to the leaders. I think they must be going a great gallop.
So it's Rakaposhi King in the lead, Triptych next to the rails, Nisnas being ridden along on the outside, a Catanango back in last place, and Maysoon has gone into fourth. They begin the descent as they reach the halfway stage in the Coronation Cup, and Rakaposhi King leads. Set 2 track records already this season. Triptych, the mare, in second place, running in her 21st Group 1 race. Nisnas is third, and here goes into Catanango on the outside under Pat Edery, goes into third place. Maysoon still really swinging there back in fifth. The lightning flashes. They come past the 5 furlong marker, and Rakaposhi King has it. From Triptych in second place, looks to be running away. Then the Catanango back in third, Maysoon is 4. Nisnas, the pace is just a bit too hot for him. Levels up into the home straight in last place. And so it's Rakaposhi King in the lead. From in second place, Triptych coming there in second place. And I do declare that when Steve Cawthon went down to the start, he hadn't got gloves on. He's certainly got gloves on now. Just over 2 to go. It's Rakaposhi King in the lead. But look at the odds-on favourite, Triptych in behind in second. But Maysoon is on on her heels too, and she can quicken. Catanango is on the left of the 4. They've just got a furlong and a half to go. And it's Rakaposhi King next to the rails. Here goes Triptyque into the lead, and Triptyque quickens up and makes these look very one-pace indeed. What an amazing mare this is. It's Triptyque in the lead from Rakaposhi King second, and Catanango is third, and Triptyque holds on, but Rakaposhi King rallies inside the final furlong. Triptyque has it though, at the line. Triptyque, Rakaposhi King, Catanango from Maysoon, well clear of Nisnas, who finished last. And so the outcome of this Hanson Trust Coronation Cup, a win for number 6 Triptyque, owned by Mr. Alan Claw, the 5-4 on favourite, trained in France by Patrick Le Biancone and ridden by Tony Cruz. A truly remarkable racehorse. Second is number 4, Rakaposhi King, ridden by Steve Cawthon. And third is number 1, Catanango, ridden by Pat Edery. That's the 1, 2, 3 then in this Group 1 race. And really this mare, who was desperately unlucky last year, has got a vengeance today. She carries her head a bit high, she may be ungangly, maybe no oil painting, but what a machine. Getting a well-deserved pat there from Tony Cruz.
And how beautifully he's ridden her, Tony Cruz, because she doesn't want to be in front too long. Rakaposhi King has given her a great lead, and incidentally I apologise humbly to Maysoon, who, as you said, Joe, has run an absolute blinder. But here comes Triptyque in a moment. Well, she doesn't come yet because Tony Cruz quite rightly waits. He's very patient.
But he's been in the box seat the whole way around, and he's had his hands full from a long way from home, and he's just quite content to sit behind, because he knows if he does go too soon on this filly, she does tend to sort of go 3 or 4 lengths clear, then she'll idle. And at the 2 there, he's got no worries whatsoever. He's just going to sit and hang on to her a while longer. Wally's come on the outside, appears to have a danger, but they're going nowhere. The only one that's making any real progress at the moment is the German horse. And there, off he goes now, and, you know, the race is over.
But she's gone now, and what acceleration she shows at the furlong pole. She did it last year, but she did it a bit too early. This time, the timing is exact. Rakaposhi King runs on really well, and Catanango does his level best, his formidable best. Don't forget, this is only the 4th time in his life he's ever been beaten at all. But I don't believe he even gets to Rakaposhi King, who's going to hold on to second place. But Triptyque's the winner.
And viewing that replay with you, I just wondered whether she was actually running out of steam in the last 100 yards. By gum, if reference point John Oaksey goes to the Coral Eclipse and this mare comes over the Coral Eclipse, we could be having a bit of a horse race.
It could indeed, and you can almost bet your bottom dollar she will come over for the Eclipse, because she comes over for everything.
Triptyque returned the 5-4 on favourite, did touch 11-10 on the course. The second, Rakaposhi King, Cawthon's horse, the 100-30 joint second favourite. And the third, the German Panzer, Catanango, also went off, 100-30 joint favourite. And that Triptyque is the 44th favourite to win in 82 runnings of the Coronation Cup. She's the 20th to go in at odds on. She wins by 3/4 of a length, and you must remember that most of the recent winners of the Coronation Cup have been odds on. Rainbow Quest 2 years ago, Master Willie in 81, and Ile de Bourbon 2 years earlier. And that Triptyque among the super fillies to win the Coronation Cup. Time Charter 2 years ago, Lupe won it in 71, Park Top in 69, Petite Étoile twice in 60 and 61. What a super filly that Triptyque is, and many of you, I believe, were on her.
And as has been said, no filly in her time, at any rate, has worked harder or travelled further. She's been to America twice. She went to America on an abortive journey the winter before last, and last season, after winning the Champion Stakes, as I told you, she went to California, ran on the dirt track in California at Santa Anita, and then went to Japan. Not surprisingly, she didn't run all that well in either of those races, but her enthusiasm and her ability are both intact, Joe.
She's a cracking good filly, John, and it just seems to me that Tony Cruz and her seem to have hit on very, very well, and the only times I've seen him ride her, everything's gone right for them.
Well, it's like mother, like daughter, because Triptyque is out of a marvellous mare. Trillion ran as often as she did and ran as consistently as she did. As you see, Trillion was by Hail to Reason, and Riverman was by Millreef's sire, Never Bend. So it's been a pretty good week for Never Bend so far, the Derby winner and the Coronation Cup winner too. But he'll never get, or he did never get, a tougher offspring than this mare. She doesn't mind where she goes, and we should give credit, I think, to Patrick Biancone. She's had 3 trainers in her life, but he's run her just as hard as the others, but he's got her really at her best.
He seems to have the key of it, doesn't he? It's lovely to see a filly, a 5-year-old filly, keep on improving. She's not going backwards. And most fillies at this age, you know, they're beginning to sort of train off a little bit, but she just seems to be improving with every race she has.
Just minutes away. As the horses reach the start, they'll file round to the front of it, gather there, have their girths checked, all equipment checked over, and then file back round to be loaded up. Just 5-6 minutes to go. Here's the full betting.
Reference point now, the 6-4 favourite opened up at 7-4. Sajid is 13-2 from 7-1. And Legal Bid out to 9-1, opened up at 7s. Pilotto 10-1 from 12-1. And Entitled 12-1 again, reverting back from 10s. Broom Dancer 16s. Ascot Knight 25-1, together with Ajdal. Love the Groom and Most Welcome, both on the 33-1 mark. Mountain Kingdom and Persifleur also 33s. Evan Bay steady at 50-1, together with Sir Harry Lewis, the same price, 50-1, reverting back from 66s. Golf King is 100-1 from 66-1, and Romantic Prince 100-1. Angara Abyss is 150s, together with Water Boatman and Al Wasmi, and they all show.
Well, on a horrible rainy day at Salisbury yesterday, I talked to some of the jockeys and asked Pat Eddery, first of all, whether he thought Pilotto would stay 1.5 miles.
Well, I think Pilotto has got an excellent chance. He was running on extremely well in the Guineas, and Noel Murlis always said that a horse that was running on well in the Guineas would finish place, would have a great chance in the Derby. So I'm looking forward to riding him.
Do you think he'll handle the track all right?
I don't think there's any doubt about him handling the track. He's got a lot of speed, the horse. He's well balanced, and he's got a good action, and he's got the right temper for that sort of race.
Golf King is a pretty decent horse, and when he won the Guardian Classic Trial, he actually probably made a few people, you know, think twice. But that day he hated the ground, and I just feel now that rain has come, my chances of him greatly improved from what I first thought. He has got a lot of ability, and I just think now the rain has come, I think I've done really, really well.
Well, Sir Harry Lewis, I rode at Haydock on his first start in the maiden, and he won it nicely. He just hung a little bit left, but afterwards Mr. Hill had him looked at, and he had a little bit of a problem with his back, and they've had it sorted out. And he went to Chester, and he won the D Stakes very nicely. He was travelling third into the straight, and a gap come up the fence, and he was able to take it very quickly. And you know, it showed he had a nice turn of foot, and I think that should enable him to handle Epsom quite well.
Well, Evan Bay, like you say, he stays well. He's a progressive type, and I don't think this rain will particularly worry him because he'll go on any ground. And I'm hopeful.
How about the track?
He didn't particularly handle Lingfield very well when he ran in the Derby trial at Lingfield, but I think that was a case of not being fully wound up. So I'm hoping he'll handle the track. He handled Goodwood okay, so I don't really see any problem.
Yes, I've rode Legal Bid work a couple of times this last week. Once on Wednesday, and again I rode him out on Friday. On the Wednesday, he did a little bit of work with 2 other horses, and he picked up and he beat them quite easy. I know they weren't anything to sort of really shout home about, but he's in great form.
Did you go around any corners?
Yes, we did. We just went right-handed, but for me, I think Epsom would be no problem to him. I don't think anything could have turned at Lingfield that day when he won. He seems a great ride, very relaxing himself. I think he'll take all the beat.
Well, I must say that Legal Bid looked quite exceptionally well in the paddock, and I think Tony Ives is going to have a marvellous ride. The corners were very, very sharp at Lingfield when Legal Bid's bit came through his mouth, and Tony certainly doesn't anticipate any worries. Joe, I would have thought that Legal Bid will handle Tatton Corner all right.
As you were saying at Lingfield, I think it was just an accident that the actual bridle went through his mouth. He's just an ordinary debutant today, and there's no reason why he shouldn't turn. I think he'll handle the course exceptionally well. I don't think he necessarily has to be in front.
No, who, Reference Point?
No, Legal Bid.
No. Legal Bid did make the running at Lingfield. It'll be very interesting to see whether Reference Point attempts to make all the running, won't it? Do you think he will?
I think that if he can get out in front and sort of dictate it from the start and give his horse, which Steve's a brilliant jockey in front anyway, just give himself time to settle down into his work, I think he'll put him a very, very fine performance. He looks magnificent. His temperament is unbelievable.
One very confident trainer was Vincent O'Brien about Entitled, and I believe Jim McGrath has some news of Entitled. Jim's down at the start.
Yes, down at the start, John. Entitled was the one horse who was led round by a handler. Most of the others took the preliminaries very well. One or two got warm, but then it is a warm afternoon. Entitled's okay, but he was a little bit warmer than the others.
Well, there was always a possibility that Entitled might get a little bit upset. Here, Ajdal sweating up quite considerably. He's always taken a little bit of time to go in the stalls before both the English and the Irish guineas. And that's the beautiful cup that they're going for. But of course, as Bruff said, they're going for an awful lot more than that. An awful lot of money, an awful lot of prestige, and a place in history. Well, there's Ajdal going in. Over to you for your umpteenth Derby commentary, Graham Good.
It's going to be a more competitive race than the betting would indicate. Just waiting for two more to go in down at the mile-and-a-half start for this ever-ready Derby. And it's Ajdal, neglected by Walter Swinburne. Ray Cochrane gets the ride today. And also waiting to go in is Entitled, relatively inexperienced, but that comes from Vincent O'Brien's stable, and you must always respect his runners around Epsom. So waiting for Ajdal, the others in the stalls, cool, calm, patient, collected. And for the first half mile, they have to go up quite a steep hill as we wait for Entitled to go in, and when he's in, they'll all be installed. That's it. Lined up for the 208th Derby. Under orders, and they're away, and a pretty level break too. With through the first furlong up on the very wide outside, Al Wasby showing very good pace. A little bit slowly away was Sajid, and that's 3 or 4 lengths dropped off the pace, and now Reference Point has come through to take it up. And it's Reference Point and Legal Bid and Water Boatman chased up on the inside, tracked by Sir Harry Lewis. That's on the right of the picture. On the extreme right is Love the Groom. The French raider Sajid is some way adrift, and they go up the hill on the far side of the track. And it's Water Boatman just disputing it with Reference Point in second. Al Wasby on the wide outside. Then just in behind these comes Ascot Knight and Ibn Bay. And Legal Bid is handy, and Angara Abyss is handy, and Love the Groom is handy. And Water Boatman was on the outside, just checking Love the Groom, and Sir Harry Lewis there. But the favourite has it as they head with a mile to go. It's Reference Point in the lead. Reference Point showing the way to Ibn Bay. Then comes Ascot Knight on the outside, and then Legal Bid, then Ajdal with just in behind these comes Water Boatman. Sajid is still some little way adrift, and the other French raider is mid-division as they begin the descent now to Tatton Corner. And they've got 7 furlongs left to go. Reference Point has it from Ibn Bay in second, then Ascot Knight on the outside, and then Legal Bid and Water Boatman, then Ajdal and Most Welcome, the horse with the noseband, on the outside of the pack. Behind these comes Sir Harry Lewis and Love the Groom, then Percy Fleur and Gulf King, Entitled mid-division, and they're well past halfway, and Sajid is still well in arrears. 5 to go, the favourite Reference Point out in front from Ascot Knight in second, and Most Welcome third, and Ibn Bay 4, and Legal Bid looks for room, and below Bellotto looks for room at the rear of the field, and they begin the descent to Tattenham Corner, and it's Reference Point in the lead. Reference Point and Steve Cawthon out in the lead from Ascot Knight second. Then in third is Most Welcome and Ibn Bay. Then Agdal next to the rails. Legal Big comes to the run. Sir Harry Lewis comes to the run. Bellotto tries to make ground on the left of the picture. Sadid starts to pick up ground. Also looking for room is Groom Dancer. I think just over 2 furlongs to go, and Reference Point has it from Ascot Knight. Then comes Most Welcome and Sir Harry Lewis. Bellotto makes good ground on the outside. Entitled coming for the run. They've got a furlong and a half to go, and the favourite has it, but only just, as Most Welcome throws down a big challenge. Reference Point in the yellow. Most Welcome with a noseband. Bellotto starts to pick up ground in the white sleeves, but Reference Point holds on. Reference Point when he battles. Most Welcome second. Bellotto is third. He has to be strained down close home, but the favourite wins. Reference Point a photo for second. Most Welcome and Bellotto. Then came Sir Harry Lewis, Entitled and Mountain Kingdom. Then Sadid and Groom Dancer, disappointing runs. Then Agdal and Percy Flair, and behind these Ascot Knight led the Groom Ibn Bay. Then Gulf King, and the back marker last of all was Romantic Prince. And so on the 6-4 favourite, Steve Cawthon has won his second derby on number 16, Reference Point, owned by Mr. Lewis Freedman. Bred by him at the Cliveden Stud, ridden by Steve Cawthon, Steve's second derby winner, and this one trained, as his first one was, by Henry Cecil at Newmarket, and ridden by Steve in similar front-running fashion. Officially, it's a photo for second place between number 13, which is Most Welcome, ridden by Paul Edery, and number 5, Bellotto, ridden by his brother Pat. They're in a photo for second and third, but the winner has been posted. It's number 16, Reference Point, and he's won the ever-ready derby, and he's done it in the style that he had to do it in, by making all the running. This is a tremendous performance. He was a very, very short price favourite at 6-4, but he's justified that market position. He's justified Steve Cawthon's confidence, and Steve Cawthon got it right. He could have chosen between him and Legal Bid. He got it right. He's in front as he came round Tattenham Corner. The challengers came thick and fast, none from France, and Steve Cawthon repelled all raiders.
What an absolutely gallant performance this has been by Reference Point, because there was a moment, I must say, a furlong out when I thought he was going to get caught. Most Welcome there, 2 off the rails in the white noseband, is the one who makes the most desperate challenge in the end, but Ascot Knight and Most Welcome are both challenging, with Legal Bid on the outside, Sir Harry Lewis in the lighter colours. Reference Point really only has just about a neck in front, maybe half a length, Joe. I thought he might still get caught.
He was a very good performance. I thought he might get caught too, but he stuck to his guns, didn't he, when Steve asked him.
Watch Pat Edery on the outside now in the Dancing Brave colours, not coming from as far behind as Dancing Brave did, but nevertheless staging what looks a very dangerous challenge on Bellotto. Most Welcome might almost have got his head in front of Reference Point there, but Steve Cawthon hasn't really asked the favourite for everything yet. Now, when he does, Reference Point shows his courage and his speed, because from here on in, he increases his lead. Just look, he wins going away. Bellotto challenging Most Welcome for second place, but the favourites won a most gallant victory. And Sir Harry Lewis appears to be fourth. Well, Steve Cawthon coming back to a victory not nearly as easy as his previous derby on Slip Anchor. He was never able to get away from this field, Joe. I suppose they were never going to let him.
He would never let him. I mean, when he went on Slip Anchor, he slipped the field, actually. But today, the jockeys, this is an out-and-out staying horse, loves to be in front. They're not going to give him any start. But I thought it was a really gutsy performance of this horse.
Most Welcome is definitely called second. And I don't know whether they've called Bellotto third yet, but I should be very surprised if he wasn't. But Steve, with the broadest grin in England, between here and California, the distances were 1.5 lengths and a short head, and Reference Point isn't quite used to this round of applause, but he'll get it now.
So Steve Cawthon dismounts off what is his, for reference, 45th winner of the season. He won by a length and a half, a short head separating second and third. And what a triumph for owner Lewis Friedman, who bred this horse. Most reference 6-4, reference point I should say 6-4, most welcome 33-1, and Bellotto third at 11-1. If you think his winning odds of 6-4 were very thin, think on this. Stud groom Derek Powley backed the horse at 500-1 a year ago last May.
And there is Alison Dare, reference point's best friend and most constant companion, standing at his head. And this morning, at any rate, we weren't able to think of a Derby winner who'd been looked after and led up by a girl. So Alison Dare may have made her own bit of history. She won't mind whether she's making history or not. She's just delighted that Herbie has done it for her. What a temperament, Joe.
He's fantastic. He was so placid before the race, you know, walking around the paddock. You see, he was yawning, and watching him walk across the downs, he couldn't have cared less. Everything in his stride. And
I hear from our producer that is the fastest ever electrically recorded time. So reference point has also a course record. And what a tragedy it is that he didn't win the 2,000 guineas, because a bigger certainty for the Triple Crown if he had, you'd never see, would you?
Actually, going to be a very hot favourite for the Ledger.
Yeah, they won't oppose him much in the St. Ledger, because the one extraordinary thing about this race, although he looked like being done halfway up the straight, he won going away. Well, his sire, of course, won in 1971. Sadly, he's no longer alive, but he's absolutely made the national stud, Mill Reef, while he was there, breeding winners all over the world, including Shirley Heights, of course, who's already won the Derby, and his son, Slip Anchor. What a tragedy Mill Reef's death was. The Dam was an absolutely first-rate middle-distance filly too, home on the range. Well, let's have a look at Mill Reef himself, when he was still hale and hearty at the national stud, and that, don't forget, is a horse who shattered his fetlock as a 4-year-old. Marvellous job the surgeons did on him, enabled him to have a wonderfully successful career at the stud. Well, here is the starting price of his latest Derby winner, reference point.
First, number 16, reference point, the 6-4 favourite. Second, number 13, most welcome at 33-1. And third, number 5, Bellotto, 11-1. The tape returns, win £3.40. Places £1.50, £5.20 and £2.90. The dual forecast paid £56.50 and 19 round.
Steve Corton, the man who won the Kentucky Derby, won the English Derby twice, reference point. Is he all you dreamt about?
Oh, he gave me a fantastic ride. He's a real good horse. He, all the way, he was just at different times, you know, he kept looking at the crowd at one stage, just when we got to the top of the hill, after about a furlong and a half or 2 furlongs. Half of the crowd was hanging out onto the track, and he just had a look at him, but, you know, you got to keep at him.
Because very different from Slip Anchor, who made all the running on, who went, I mean, you really saw him clear down the hill with him, but this horse, you had to work on.
Really, I wanted to get him down the hill without getting him unbalanced. Slip Anchor is a very balanced horse. This horse tends to change his legs a bit, and I just wanted to get him down the hill and into the straight before I really started kicking.
And Steve, then when they came to you, I mean, you're having to work, and in fact, one thought the most welcome might have almost headed you.
He got up sides just for a stride or two, but my horse was still idling a bit, and he's a very clever horse, you know. As he was having a bit of trouble with the camber, you know, he was just looking after himself and trying to get himself balanced a bit. And then, but, you know, he is a real tough horse, and he loves a challenge, and I always knew from here that I was going to beat him going up the hill.
Well, this last 100 yards, there was still something under Corton.
Yeah, I was always going to beat him there, and he's still tending to, you know, look at everything a little bit. It's a bit more people and more things going on here than there was at York, but he's done it well, and it's fantastic.
Well, he's been a Derby horse ever since he first appeared on the track, but looking at him, he looks as if he's still a frame to feel more improvement in him.
He is, you know, he's a big, strong horse, and I think really just with racing and more seasoning, he's going to just get better and better as the year goes on, and obviously on more galloping tracks, he's going to be more of a force to reckon with.
Well, Steve, it's a major day for Steve Cawthon too. Must be a great feeling.
Glad to get it over with.